What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more review streams for you as Spurs beat Preston 3-0 at Deepdale yesterday to secure safe passage into the 5th round of the FA Cup. And it was a good day all round for Spurs yesterday. Not only did we win 3-0, we got the here we go to Porro as well. That is going to be signed, sealed and delivered, I think, today or tomorrow. Romano did give an update on it today. Let me just get it up. And he said Porro is going to travel to London today. Let me just find it. 1 second. Oh, bloody hell, he's done a lot of updates since the Porro one.
That's Fabrizio.
Yeah, here it goes. It says, Tottenham want to get all contracts signed today for Pedro Porro deal after verbal agreement reached with Sporting on Saturday night. It's done for fee close to 45 million euros. Porro prepared to travel to London with agents later today. Contract till 2028 with Spurs. So, look, it was a great day all round. Talk to me about yesterday. Talk to me about the atmosphere in the stands. Obviously, you were up there yesterday, and we'll get into the performance as well.
Yeah, it was a really good day, I think, all round. It was very, very positive. I thought the performance in the first half was probably a bit below par, but we didn't really concede any chances, and we were the ones most likely to score. I thought Son... For me, Son was probably our best performer even in the first half. So I was no surprise when he did break the deadlock in the second. But there was a good feeling yesterday. The fans were up for it. They were travelled in their numbers through thick and thin to get there in Preston. 6,000, I think, were up there yesterday.
Yeah, and what's even more impressive is a lot of trains got cancelled the night before the game. So that made it even more impressive how many Spurs fans were there.
Yeah, and it was obviously the whole Sol Campbell article added an extra edge to the atmosphere yesterday. You saw from minute one the Spurs fans wanted to make their feelings known about that Sol Campbell interview that he gave to the Guardian a couple of days ago. So that obviously added to the atmosphere. There was some good banter between the Preston fans and the Spurs fans. There was actually an incident near the beginning of the game where there was a Preston fan. He was there with his kid or something, and sitting in the Preston end, and for some reason he'd brought an Arsenal shirt.
I saw a picture of that.
Yeah, he brought an Arsenal shirt to the game, and he starts waving it, like trying to antagonise the Spurs fans, and they kicked him out with his kid. He had a kid. He had to get kicked out with his kid there as well. And it's so funny. You can see him walking out. I think I have it on the vlog. He's walking out of the stadium, getting dragged out by the police with his kid. He's holding his kid by the hand, and then he just gives the two fingers up to the Spurs fans while he's walking out. It was a funny moment. Then there was this let's say large Preston fan sitting in the front row as well, right next to the Tottenham fans, and he was like, I think it was she was giving it like the big one basically throughout the game. And so whenever Spurs scored, it was always Fatty, what's the score? It was quite funny, and there was good banter. But no, there was obviously a lot of Levy out chants. I was actually sitting next to a guy who brought a flag. It said thanks for no memories but time to go for Daniel Levy, and it was a gigantic flag. It probably would have gone like 10 rows if it would. He tried to get it going, but like people wanted to like watch the games. They didn't want to be like surrounded by a flag. But he brought that. He tried to erect it, but it didn't quite happen. But the fans were well on it. You could hear it. I'm hearing, obviously I wasn't watching on TV, I was at the game, but I'm hearing from people who were that they were very loud. And like everyone's saying...
Every time, I mean, I was here on the watch long and I didn't have the headphones in for the majority, but whenever I did put the headphones in, I could hear the Spurs fans. So it was great to hear. But look, Spurs fans, I think, are doing themselves... a service at the moment, doing this team a service with the way we're travelling in our numbers, the way we're out singing home crowds. So credit to the Spurs fans at the moment, because it'd be easily excused for the Spurs fans not to be singing with the way things have been over the past month or so. So credit to the boys, credit to the Spurs fans. But let's talk about the game yesterday. As you say, it wasn't the greatest first half, but look, at half time, I was sitting here quite happy with the way things are going. I know we didn't create too many clear-cut chances, but we were kind of limited to shots from like 20, 30 yards outside the Preston area. Sonny had a couple, Kulusevski had one. We were finding it really hard to break them down, and I think that's a credit to the way Preston were defending, especially in that first half. Sonny was obviously the danger man in that first half. He was the one. The keeper got a warning sign, didn't he, from what was to come in that second half. But what I really enjoyed from that first half was Sonny. He kept making those movements, kept making those runs in behind, and we kept trying to find him, but the quality wasn't really there from the balls from the midfield and out the back. But he was running at them, he was taking men on, he looked confident, he was taking shots off. And I could tell from that first half, Sonny, it was a changed Sonny, and what happened in that second half happened. But were you that disappointed after the first half? I know Ryan Sessegnon put in a bit of a shocking performance in that first half, but I thought things were going all right. And, Preston didn't really hurt us at all, apart from that one free kick from Robbie Brady from like the halfway line, which they had a good effort from, where I think Bentancur blocked it with a good challenge. Apart from that, I thought it was all right the first half.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Look, I don't think there was too much to be happy about. Apart from, I think there was 2 long-range shots from Sonny, which both were saved from the keeper. And then there was Kulusevski had a couple of moments. There was one moment Sonny played him in behind, and it looked like he had a chance to finish. But it was a good block from the Preston defender. And then there was another one when we played a short corner to him, and he had a shot at the edge of on the edge of the area, which went over. So most of our good work and chances were coming from distance. We weren't really able to carve them open, which was a bit disappointing. I guess defensively was solid. That's probably what you expect. A lot of domination against a championship side, especially one like Preston, who are known for being a bit solid defensively, a bit of a pragmatic team, not one that really goes for you. So I think the game probably went as expected in the first half, and probably in our preview we said it's a Preston team that are going to be well organised, are going to be hard to break down, and it's going to be difficult to to come up against them and expect to create loads of chances, and it needed that moment of quality, and that came. What I did notice in the first half, though, I did see a lot more movement from the front line, which has been a criticism of a lot of people. That's
interesting you say that, because I was sitting here in that first half and I was like, there's no movement here. Every time someone was getting the ball and you're expecting the front line to be moving, I didn't notice that yesterday. It's interesting, because I literally kept shouting at the TV, being like, where's the movement? Where's the movement?
I thought yesterday, compared to other games, there was a lot more movement than we've seen, compared to previous games where we do complain. I don't think it was. No, it could have been more, to be honest, but I did think personally there was more than usual. I thought Perisic was struggling to get in the game, to be honest, up front. I thought Kulusevski in the first half anyway was very in and out of the game. Some moments he was in it, and then a lot of moments he was kind of anonymous. But Sonny, it was interesting hearing Stellini after the game. He was asked, did Sonny feel a bit more extra pressure or responsibility is the right word? Did he feel a bit more responsibility without Kane there to be the main striker and to really add quality?
We were lacking a presence up there, weren't we, in the first half?
Yeah, but I felt like Sonny definitely did step up for that responsibility to be the main attacker, and in the first half we saw it. He was the one really trying to make things happen, and he had a few good efforts of quality that nearly caught the keeper out. And then the second half, look, I don't think it was anything amazing the team did, apart from manipulating the play in such a way that Sonny was able to find space on the edge of the box, and obviously he made it pay. What a finish that was for the first goal, left-footed again. As we say so often, is there a better player on his weak foot in that kind of area than Heung-min Son? I don't think so. One
it was a wonder goal. Absolute
incredible,
wonder goal.
Incredible.
And we needed something like that to break the deadlock, because we were struggling to break them down, let's be honest. So I think it came at the right time. And then after that, I thought it was game over pretty much. Especially as soon as we got that second goal, there was no chance Preston were getting in. It was pretty easy game after that. Really was.
I thought, the whole throughout the whole game, it was pretty much a case of when will Tottenham get the first goal, or if will Tottenham get the first goal, rather than are Preston are in this game right now. They didn't really offer anything, Preston. They had a couple of set pieces where they looked threatening, but other than that, Tottenham made light work of Preston's front line. Ched Evans wasn't really involved in the game. The other striker, I can't remember his name, couldn't really get involved. Robbie Brady wasn't getting the better of Matt Doherty on the left-hand side. So Tottenham had Preston under control. I thought the back three, to be fair, did a good job making sure that the Preston weren't able to make the ball stick up front. And and then obviously we were able to progress the ball fairly well up until the final third, and then it was all about picking that lock. And obviously once Sonny was able to get that moment of quality to open up the game, then all of a sudden our quality as a team started to shine through. And I thought the second goal as well was a really good team goal, really nice good link up.
Really nice goal.
Perisic was starting to get more involved. It was a really good flick by him into Sonny. What a finish that was by Son again on his left foot, top corner. Brilliant finish by him. Maybe that confidence started to exude after his first goal, but that was a really nice touch and good finish on his left peg. And the third goal, Danjuma comes on for the last 20 minutes or so, and obviously he looked bright for that cameo. He had he looked sharp. He was linking up with the front three a couple of times.
Demanding the ball as well, which I really like to see.
He was really unlucky not to have been played through at one point by Kulusevski after some really good link-up play. And then obviously a nice finish. Well, you can argue it's a nice finish. Some people say it was missed kick. I have to watch it again. I think it might. On first viewing, it did look like a bit of a missed kick, but
it hit like the back of his heel. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like he maybe got a bit lucky with it. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I thought he looked bright regardless of whether it was a missed kick or not, and it was a good cameo from him.
Yeah, really nice touches, really nice runs. He was always looking for that space in behind. He looks like a really quick player with good feet on him. And I like the way his attitude on the pitch. He was always demanding the ball. He was screaming at his players or his teammates to get him the ball all the time. And he was always in the right position. He was always getting himself in those central areas, looking to hurt Preston. So I thought it was a really good cameo from him for his debut at Spurs for sure. And I thought, look, Sonny was clearly the best player on the pitch by far. Mm-hmm. You saw that confidence seep through him yesterday, and he was doing things that we haven't seen Sonny do in a while. Yes, it is only against Preston, but he hasn't been doing it against anyone, Sonny. So really impressive, running at the defence, asking questions of them all the time, taking shots. I think he took about 4 or 5 shots yesterday, Sonny. So really good to see him back at it. Hopefully that can give him now the confidence to announce himself into the season and really reinvigorate himself. Tanganga impressed me yesterday. He played that role that Romero usually plays on the right-hand side defence. He was getting up the pitch really well. Had his say in 2 goals, I think. First goal, he got the assist for that Sonny Waldy. Obviously, it was just a pass and Sonny did the rest. The other one was a really nice pass into Perisic, and he flicked it on into Sonny. So he had his hand in 2 goals yesterday, Tanganga. And I thought he just put in a really dominating performance yesterday.
Yeah, he looked a lot more confident than he has done in recent performances, whether it be because we were playing against a championship side or not.
Championship side.
Yeah, championship side remains to be seen. But I was very happy with his performance, much improved to what we've seen from him in performances of late. So that was really good. As you say, I thought he was actually getting forward in that overlapping role fairly decently, and I thought his quality was there, and he wasn't getting bullied from anyone. He was making sure that he was winning the first duel, and they were having trouble kind of getting the best of him. So that was good, but again, it was only Preston, so I don't know how much you can read into it. But I was very happy with him. I thought him, Sanchez, and Longley dealt with everything that was thrown at them very comfortably. I thought
Sanchez did make a few mistakes yesterday in the game, and if we were coming up against better quality, we might have paid for it. But there was a few mishaps where he was slipping all over the place, and there was one. Don't know if you saw it, where it like hit the back of his heel, that went over his head, and he kind of won the ball like that. But like against better opposition, that might be we might be going 1-1 or 1-0, whatever the score was at the time.
I definitely did see it was one of the luckiest things I've ever seen in my life. He tried to put it out for a throw, completely missed kicks it, and it somehow hits the back of his heel, goes over his head, and then it lands straight at his feet. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was the luckiest thing. He should have really gifted Preston a chance, and luckily for him, it fell right to him, and the gods were on his side at that moment. But other than that,
captain yesterday, Sanchez.
I mean, who else would have been?
I mean,
Sonny probably.
I would have given it to Sonny, to be honest. Even
I
Perisic, I would have given it to before Sanchez.
Yeah, good question. I thought, Sonny, you would have thought maybe would have been captain ahead of someone like Sanchez, I guess. That's true.
Do you reckon it was
Bentancur even?
Do you reckon it might have been like a ploy to put him in the shop window a bit, being like, look, he's our captain, and if you want him, you can have him at a good price?
maybe, or maybe it's just a. I was about to say it's a signal of how long he's been in the club, but Sonny's been there longer, so I'm not really sure. Maybe I can't really give you an answer why he picked Sanchez as captain over the other options, but maybe he's more of a leader than we think. I don't know. That's not something I've associated with Sanchez being a leader at the back. I always think could be louder and he could be patrolling things a bit more, but. Maybe they're seeing something I don't at the moment. I still think he's not good enough for us, and I think even yesterday could have been turned out very different without a bit of luck.
After that Tanganga performance yesterday, do you think that even more so now Sanchez is a bit of the odd one out? Because you look at the right hand side, I think after Tanganga's performance, I'd like to see him maybe be the backup to Romero now, with Romero and Tanganga on the right. In the middle, you've got maybe a Dyer and a Longley, and then on the left-hand side, potentially if we can bring in a Hincapié or someone before the end of the window, you can have Davis and him on the left. So Sanchez could actually be a potential one that we could get rid of this January.
Yeah.
If obviously it's a big if we can get someone in.
I mean, I wouldn't base it that much just on one performance from Tanganga against Preston. I mean, I think it's a bit. I mean,
it's more basing what we've seen on Sanchez than basing what we saw on Tanganga yesterday, and as well as Sanchez is a foreign spot in the squad.
Yeah, that definitely helps because we need to get rid of a couple of foreign players before the window. So. I think we're open to offers. I think we've tried to get rid of him. We tried to include him in the Porro deal, didn't we? Nice have inquired about him, but apparently he's the one at the moment who doesn't want to leave, and then Sporting weren't interested. So I think Tottenham are open to letting him go at this moment in time. I think that's clear from what we've seen, and I'm definitely open to letting him go because he'll free up more space in the squad, free up maybe another foreign spot. I just think that he's been at this club for way too long. He's now been here 6 years, coming up 6 years, and
at no progressively worse every year.
Yeah, at no point have you been confident that this is the centre back that is going to take us forward. And I think it's about time he left.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the midfield, Bentancur and Bissouma. The first time we saw them play in a double pivot together. I actually thought Bissouma was the better out of the two yesterday. And Bentancur, I don't know. I thought there was a bit missing from his play yesterday. I thought his passing was a bit off. But Bissouma really impressed me with his defensive display, driving the team forward, nice touches in tight spaces, wriggling away from the Preston midfield. I was quite impressed with Bissouma yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he played well. Didn't probably helped by the fact that Bentancur was definitely having a bit of an off day. I can definitely say that. I don't think he was any terrible, but
no. There
was one moment in the first half which really exemplified it. He had the ball, he then gave it away on the halfway line to a Preston player, and then he was chasing it back and he got nutmegged. And it's like, this is not Bentancur on top form.
What about the bit where he did that pirouette to take it past the player and then just made a shocking pass after that? It was like, what a great pirouette. He's driving through the middle of the park. Preston player comes to engage him. I think two Preston players. He does a pirouette and with a lovely pirouette and gets past both of them and then makes a pass straight back to a Preston player. It was really frustrating.
Yeah, he wasn't at times at his best. Maybe like he's been in some other games this season, but Bissouma was the one showing a lot more quality. I completely agree. He was the one looking to pass the ball forward very quickly. He was not giving the ball away as easily as Bentancur was. He was shielding the ball very well, and he was able to show his quality a lot more than maybe he has in previous displays. So again, have to caveat it, it's only Preston away, team who are 11th in the Championship, who do seem to give control to the opposition anyway, so maybe that's the kind of game that suits Bissouma in this formation. But he definitely was the better of the two when it comes to out of him and Bentancur. I thought he showed more quality, and also Ollie Skipp came off the bench, and I thought as well one of his better displays of recent times. I thought he actually did really well when he came off the bench.
Yeah, his passing was brilliant yesterday. I mean, he was getting the ball in the half spaces yesterday and playing really nice progressive passes forward, and I think it's the best we've seen of Ollie Skipp this season, probably the best we've seen of him since he's come back. Again, yes, it is only against Preston in the FA Cup, but I'm definitely excited to see more from Ollie Skipp, and it seems as though Spurs are going in the right direction at the moment. A bit on a downward note to talk about yesterday, the wing-backs, Doherty and Sessegnon, especially Sessegnon. But let's talk about Doherty first. I thought he had little to next to no impact in the game yesterday. Obviously, nothing came down his side in terms of from defensively. But going forward, I mean, he was pretty much anonymous, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't remember any time he was either in the box or looking to affect the play. At right wing back as well, didn't get any crosses in really, wasn't really getting many shots off. I don't remember. He wasn't really linking up with Kulusevski that much either. Didn't do too much wrong defensively, but then again didn't have too much to do. And offensively, was a bit anonymous. That's all.
Yeah.
Just didn't really get involved. I don't remember too many occasions where I remember Doherty did something good going forward.
Yeah, exactly. And on the other side, definitely wasn't an anonymous display from Ryan Sessegnon, because he got a lot of the ball, especially in that first half. And it just seemed like every time he got the ball, the move broke down. Literally every single time in that first half, even in the second half as well, until he ultimately got taken off. But I mean, how poor can your crossing be? He had so much time and space to put balls in the box, and it was just like a shocking cross every single time. And if it wasn't a cross, it was bouncing off him, going off for a goal kick, or just a poor pass. Yeah,
he had a frustrating game, no doubt about it. His quality, he had so many opportunities to show either confidence or quality in his play, and I felt that a few times, I reckon it happened a couple of times where, first of all, he kept having his crosses blocked. That happened, must have been at least 3 or 4 times he had cross blocked. And then when he did manage to get crosses in the box, they were either very easily intercepted, or I remember one of them went out straight for a goal kick. And that was really frustrating. He seems bereft of confidence right now, which we've said for a long time about Sessegnon. He did have a spell near the end of last season and maybe the beginning of this season where he was starting to play quite well, starting to get goals and fairly regular assists and stuff like that. But at the moment, those have really dried up, and he doesn't seem to have the quality to provide on a consistent basis, unless it's in a system where, he just has to kind of run in a straight line into space on breakaways and stuff like that. He doesn't seem to have that quality right now, and that's really discouraging and disappointing for Sessegnon, especially when you think, a championship side, you got an opportunity to really show what you can do, and he just wasn't able to do it. He just didn't have it in him.
Yeah, are you worried about that left-hand side for the remainder of the season? We've got half a season to go. In my opinion, 1-0 to Liverpool. In my opinion, Perisic hasn't been great since the return to the World Cup. You can argue, he's played too many games, played the same amount of games in the World Cup than Christian Romero. Funnily enough, obviously he had that fourth game playoff, but against the likes of Man City, he got completely done defensively. Obviously, we know the quality going forward, but Sessegnon as well, absolutely poor. So I'm guessing we're going to have to persist with Perisic, but I just got a feeling that Perisic at left wing back has passed his sell-by date, and we need to keep him a bit further up the pitch. So we're struggling in that position a bit.
I think Perisic at left wing back, when it comes to the good teams, I think you're in big trouble at this point. I think you saw against Man City, he struggled badly in his defensive positioning and just being able in 1v1 against a player as good as Mahrez, he just wasn't up to it. Maybe a few years ago he would have been, but at 33, I think he's turning 34 very soon. It's understandable that it's going to be harder to deal with. I still think, going forward, I do think he's better off being at wing back than at left mid, because he's afforded more space, and he gets a bit more space to get crosses in the box and at wing back than he would at left wing. So if he's not coming up against a winger as good as Mahrez, and he's coming up against a winger who's maybe more manageable, I do think against maybe lesser teams, I think Perisic at left wing back can still work. I do think against the better teams, it's a bit of a recipe for disaster right now, having him there, and that's a big problem. And hopefully next season that'll be rectified with the Doji coming in, younger, someone who can learn off Perisic as well, but he's a younger player who's going to have more energy. He's going to have more ability to defend as well. He's going to be stronger, faster, and that should solve the problem. And I don't know where that leaves Sessegnon next season, because if Conte's still here anyway, I don't see Perisic leaving with a 2-year contract. But to be fair, if Conte is not here, I think there is a chance we let him go, Perisic.
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. And I
still think he's good,
for Sessegnon to go as well. I mean, I think the likes of like the Sessegnons and the Sanchez's, they just don't add anything to this team anymore. They just really don't. And I think time for both of them to go out the door. I can't see any quality regarding either of these two players. But I'm worried about this left wing-back role for the remainder of the season. I think next season, when we've got a Doji on the left and Porro on the right, I think it's really exciting, really exciting. But for this season, I'm worried. I really am.
I'm not as worried because we'll have after Sunday, we'll have Man City and Arsenal out of the way for the remainder of the season, and I think Perisic for a lot of games will be fine in that left wing back role. I do. I still think he's quite effective there even now, and I think a lot of his assists has proven that, and I still think he's good going forward. But defensively, there's worries there, but I don't think there's as big worries against maybe non-top 6 teams as there are against them. So in those big games, maybe Sessegnon might be the answer. Maybe we'll have to find a solution, or maybe Perisic can somehow improve. But there will be a worry there. But I do think for the majority of games, I'm not as worried as you.
At this point, I'll take Reguilon back over Sessegnon. Literally, I think I don't see how Reguilon can be any worse than what Sessegnon's being at the moment.
Well, I always thought that Reguilon was a better player. I just thought the only difference between Reguilon and Sessegnon was that Sessegnon's more suited to wing back than Reguilon. Reguilon was always a decent player for me. I thought he was quite a good left back, but he didn't have the attacking output to really be an effective wing back. And I thought Sessegnon might have the difference there, but at the moment, Sessegnon is also not really able to do it. That output and that quality. So from that point of view, taking into account Reguilon's probably superior defensive ability, we probably might have been better off keeping him.
Yeah, and when you're looking at the FA Cup now, a lot of big teams out, Chelsea out, Arsenal out, Newcastle out. What are you thinking? We got a good chance this year.
Why not? Why not? I think we're probably third favourites at the moment. There's City, there's Liverpool, and there's us probably.
And United.
I think with the odds we're third somehow.
Really?
I think with the odds we're third. Or maybe fourth. It could be fourth. But I think we're third because Liverpool have Brighton. That's probably why we're third odds. But we definitely have a good opportunity. We shouldn't fear anyone, in my opinion. I think we got a very good chance of going all the way, and we should take it very seriously. And I think we've got a very good chance of getting a trophy if we can take it as seriously as possible. Obviously, the games are going to start mounting up if we stay in the Champions League, and with the league games coming up, a lot of league games still to play, and hopefully there won't be any replays in future rounds and stuff like that. But I'm looking at who's left, and you've got to fancy your chances. Why not?
Yeah, if we get a kind draw and maybe Man City can get Man United in the next round in another dream tie for us.
Never know.
You never know. But Man City are kind of doing God's work at the moment. Beat Chelsea in the first round, beat Arsenal in the second round. Hopefully they get Man United in the next round.
That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. But hopefully Spurs can get another kind draw in the next round. The draw is tomorrow around 7 o'clock. So we'll bring you the news as and when that drops. But that is our match review for the 3-0 win up at Preston yesterday. Really good performance. Nice to get 2 back-to-back clean sheets as well. And things are starting. Are you seeing a bit of light at the end of the tunnel now? Because I was getting fans on the fan show yesterday and everyone was just so calm. Apart from Ashmatic when he ran off because Porro got injured. Everyone else was just so calm on the fan show yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think we're fully there yet, obviously. But, 3 clean sheets in the last 4 away games is definitely something to build on. 2 tough away games as well. The last few games as well. We beat Fulham, we beat and we beat Palace, and then obviously we lost to City, but we were 2-0 up in that game. Things are starting to improve a bit. I want to see what Porro can do when he comes in. That's really, really exciting. I think that could add a new dimension to our attack.
Does he come straight in for you against Man City? Because I was having this conversation yesterday, and I still think maybe Emerson is a bit more suited to that game. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him come straight in. To be fair,
I think. I think Conte will probably err on the side of caution if I know what Conte's like, but I would kind of want to see him just go straight in. And against his old club as well, you got to remember that. And I'm just imagining him coming straight in and having those quick breakaways that we do against City and having Porro just
dynamite on the
running
counter,
forward. Yeah, I mean, it could be very, very exciting for us. I don't believe actually, though, in a weird way, I think he's going to add a new dimension to our attack, but I'm still worried that Conte isn't going to trust the back line enough to press as high as we want to press, even with Porro there. I'm sure it will help a bit, but he said before that he's worried about the characteristics of his defenders as to why we don't press as high. And Porro should help with that, but will it help enough that we go full on and press really high up? Because we've been talking about a lot of the time this season how it seems to be like with our pressing game, like a lot of the time our forward players kind of press high, and then it seems as though that the centre backs don't press as high. They kind of drop off a bit, and they're kind of too scared to press too high. And I've seen a few images that kind of concur with that analysis, that the pressing from Tottenham isn't as coordinated as it should be, and whether it might be because there's a lack of trust in the defenders, or maybe it's just how Conte wants to do things. But definitely, our pressing game isn't as coordinated as it should be, and that's a worry going forward, because it still leaves a lot of space in between the defenders and the midfielders, and teams are exploiting that. So we need players that Conte can trust to press high in that defence, and Porro is definitely one that he will trust, and I think Emerson he trusts as well, but it's the centre backs who he doesn't trust, and Porro, unfortunately, as much as he'll help going forward, and I think it would add a new dimension to how we attack. Will it add a new dimension to our pressing and how much control we have in games? I'm still sceptical.
Brighton just scored 1-1. Lamptey. Wow, what a goal that was.
Missed it.
Anyway, 1-1. All right, so that's our match review. Let's bring on our guests, and let's start off with Ashmatic. Let's see if he's calmed down a bit since Pedro Porro went down injured. Yes, bro. How's it going, man? You good?
And you good?
Yeah, man, all good. Sim maybe a bit worse for wear after coming back from Preston at 2 a.m. last night. But you calmed down yesterday since Porro went down injured. He finished the game unscathed, so happy days.
Yeah, I'm a lot calmer now, man. I just, you know what? I slept very well. Like these last couple of nights, it's been a bit rough, boys. I'm not gonna lie to you, but having that win just calm my nerves a bit, and getting Porro in as well, that helps steady the nerves. You know, that's what you need. You need a good Tottenham vibe to kind of help you sleep better.
Yeah, are you feeling that the bit of more positive vibes now seeping through the fan base, seeing as Porro's come in, a couple wins behind us, couple of clean sheets behind us? You feeling more positive now?
Yeah, I think Porro was important for our fan base because there was a nervousness that it wouldn't get done, and we felt a bit of leaviness creeping in. We wasn't sure if it was gonna. It was like our first choice signing, and we had an issue with right wing back since the summer, and this is the first time I feel in a long time that we've actually got our first target. The actual target we're going for, we actually got them in. So I think that's the reason why people were so nervous and so excited when it actually got done, because now that right wing back that kind of affected our summer business, because everyone was like, it was like a divide between a 7 out of 10 and a 5 out of 10 because we didn't get the actual signings, all the signings we needed. I think that wing back was essential, and I feel everyone feels a bit more happier as a fan base, because let's face it, Emerson Royale and Doherty just ain't it. They just ain't it. They ain't cutting it.
And also, do you think it maybe signals some sort of change in approach from the hierarchy, and the fact that Emerson and Doherty are still here and they're still willing to upgrade in that position, even without maybe selling them first? Maybe in previous windows they would have used the excuse saying, we want to sign him, but until we get rid of Emerson and Doherty, we're not going to be able to bring him in, because there's no point in having three right backs. But do you reckon that does signal some sort of change, the fact we're willing to spend that kind of money while Emerson and Doherty are still at the club with no real indication they're going to leave before the window ends?
Yeah, it's a massive change because normally you're right. It is one in and one out kind of policy. That's how we kind of worked our transfer business. And Levy's very like cautious and meticulous and very prudent about balancing, keeping the books afloat. And so it doesn't make sense. In the past, it wasn't really, it didn't make sense to have three in one position when only you need one, and just in case one gets injured. And wages, I know Levy was trying to keep wages down to keep the club running smoothly. So having three or four players in one position didn't make sense to him. So it's a massive surprise. It's a massive surprise that we're actually getting in players that we actually need. And I think that is because of the Italian stallion, Conte. I actually think he's come into the club and he's just looked at everything and he knows how big clubs operate. And I think he's identified, he said, the way you do recruitment is all wrong. Like, I think he told everyone about themselves. He literally went into the boardroom.
Home truths.
Like, boardroom, I can imagine him having like maybe a shot of whiskey before going in and then just giving it to them. Like, literally. Because even when Paratici first came in, he even changed them. Like he changed the coach. Like, you know, the players used to come in wearing like no uniform. Now he made them wear like all suits. I think was it Hugo Boss?
Yeah,
like a Hugo Boss deal.
Yeah.
And he just changed everything up. And
he
was
made
like,
us drive around in a branded bus as well.
Yeah, that's it. That was what I was referring to. Yeah. So I just feel like, and even like the news about academy talent searcher, the guy that what's his name? Chris Perkins is his name?
Yeah,
he's gone to Arsenal apparently today.
Has he? Oh God,
yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah. So I think was it Joe Lewis's daughter? They were saying Vanessa.
Yeah,
she's helping to restructure the club, and I think that might be a part of it because for a long time, Spurs have always tried to adopt this kind of youth project, especially under Pochettino. And Pochettino's philosophy was about like giving the youth a chance, like developing the youth and then bringing them up and then bringing them into the first squad and seeing a clear pathway. And I know he did say when he first came in, like it was easy to integrate them because, you know, you could be like a 6 or a 7 or a 5 even, he said, I think, and you get into the side. But now we're in like Champions League and we're fighting on like the upper echelon of competitions. It's harder to bring through the youth. We just don't have the quality. So I just feel like maybe Vanessa has revisited those pressing issues. And that's why maybe my man got fired for the recruitment job. And yeah, I just feel like Paratici's job not being super certain. I think we're looking at everything at the moment. We're looking at all areas. So if Paratici was not to be here in the summer, I'm not sure if Conte would stay on. But then I still think another sporting director will come in because I just feel like it's tied with the philosophy that Spurs want going forward. They kind of want that. Like if you look at Chelsea, everyone's like Chelsea's scattergun approach, da 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 da. But if you notice, they haven't really brought in since this window anyway. They haven't really brought in anyone of a senior age, like 26 plus. They brought in quite a few youngsters, and I feel like after looking at Arsenal being on top and seeing their approach and how many years they've been going at it as well, they're in a position where we should be in terms of youth development, youth projects. So like you've got Martinelli, he's 21. You've got Saka, that's 21. You've got the likes of Odegaard, all players that are very, very young in their age group. And I just feel like that was what we were meant to be. And we were meant to refreshen that approach. A bit like Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund are very good at getting your young players in. Remember, they had like the Sanchos come in, they developed them well. Obviously now Jude Bellingham, he's quite young and they've developed him well. And I thought at the time when we were playing under Poch, we were that attractive kind of club that kind of plays the youth players. And that's why we were getting linked with players like your Jack Grealish's, like they were young, buzzing. Any young, even I remember Ross Barkley was linked with us. He was like at Everton. He was up and coming. He was playing well. He was young at the time, and it was just a push on like your Dele Allis to give them competition, so they wouldn't become stale. And obviously, the more young players you develop and integrate into the team, they kind of grow as a team. And like 3-4 years, like a 21-year-old, 3-4 years later, they're going to be like so used to playing with these players. It's going to be like second nature. They're going to make a pass, and that person will be there automatically. So I just feel like moving forwards, Tottenham need to really start looking at the sporting directors and making sure the ethos of the club kind of matches whatever our ethos is, whatever our philosophy is. It has to stay, because if that's not right, then every coach that comes in will have to obliterate the squad, and we have to do a rebuild of a new squad and a rebuild of a new squad. But if the philosophy is clear and the sporting director is in there and he understands like what the actual ethos, what the mission statement is, then you don't have to clear out so many players every time. Because if you look at Man City as well, Man City is a very good example. Their sporting director, is his name Tiki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bergstein or something, yeah.
Yeah. He came from Barcelona, right? In
Yeah.
I forget, it was like 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
And basically, when they got Pep in, they said, whatever players we get in, they're gonna suit the style of football. So it doesn't matter of the price. We don't care about the price, but what we care about is the quality of player and the style of player. So we'll get a player for this position, and he'll be able to do X, Y, Z, and that's basically the blueprint. Rather than going for like name brand players and paying over the odds, because if you've realised since the last couple of years, Man City, apart from like maybe like your Haaland, you don't really see them go for like super name brand players. They kind of just go for players that fit the system. And I feel like Spurs, we've been missing that for quite some time. Even Arsenal, to be fair, they're getting players that kind of fit the system. And so I think if our system's super ultra sonic clear, like crystal clear, and we know our DNA, we just like, this is the Tottenham way. This is how we play. This is the style we play in, attractive football, with youngsters, it'll be easier to recruit and easier to bring in players. And I think with Conte, I think because we're understanding his style a lot more as fans, we're like, yeah, we need a right wing back. And so when a right wing back comes in, like we're happy. Or when a left wing back comes in, we're happy. Do you understand? So I think that's what Spurs is missing at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, I think like the recruitment since Conte has come in, you got to say, has been fairly good, with the likes of Bentancur, Kulusevski coming in last January. Good age, good quality, good experience. And as well, your Porro this summer, this January, with Danjuma as well, who looked really good yesterday, by the way, in Danjuma. And also in the summer, I know not all of them have kicked on, and we've not seen what we want to see from all of them, but they're all good players in Bissouma, Richarlison, and all at a good age. So we're not signing the really young players, but I think we're signing players at a good age, 23, 24, 25, who can still be here for a number of years and all do fit the system.
Yeah. I agree, man. I think so. I think Danjuma coming in, adding competition, like I said yesterday, him coming off the bench, he's going to make a difference, a massive difference. And I think, this is the model we need to kind of bring in. Anytime we're getting players in, we need to kind of have those type of players coming in and add in. Because like if you look at Son all of a sudden he's got a new lease of life. And I think Danjuma has helped him in adding that competition, adding that little bit of rivalry, giving them that spark. Son normally obviously plays the left side of the forwards, but I felt he played a little bit more central. And his first goal was actually on the right. It wasn't even on the left. So he was given more of a free role, and he was given that mantle that Kane normally has, that responsibility. And so with that responsibility, he was happy to have that on his shoulders and just take the team forward when we need something else. And normally it's Kane we look to, but when Son's the main man, it's like now all of a sudden we're not thinking, oh my days, if Kane leaves, Tottenham will capitulate or we completely collapse. Now we're thinking, oh look, Spurs now we've got more of a like Son can actually do the job if needed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we're talking about Porro and what he'll bring to the team, obviously he's going to be a much more of a threat going down the right hand side. But how much of a difference do you think he makes to our system and as a team as a whole when it comes to having a good second half of the season? Do you think it's a game changer kind of transfer, or do you think he'll just improve certain things, but a lot of issues still to resolve?
I just hope that, like, I'm like you guys, I'm worried about the left hand side now that the right hand side is sorted. But I just feel like on the right hand side, my only worry is that he doesn't play like how he plays with Sporting. He doesn't play like, but sometimes we get players and they play a little bit within themselves. So I'm hoping that's not the case for Porro. He comes in and he's the Porro that you see at Sporting. He's going to just jump in Spurs and he's going to be able and he's going to be allowed to go forward. Because a lot of the times you hear like the players need to get used to the tactics. They got to get used to the culture. They got to get used to the teammates, the way the players move, the chemistry, etc., etc. So I'm hoping we haven't got to wait for all of that before Porro kicks on. I'm hoping that Conte doesn't take time embedding them into the system and letting them know how the system works, etc. I'm hoping that their system's similar to what our system is, and he's able to just jump. He's able to jump in straight away. What I am hoping from him is the football intelligence. I always use that word, but when it comes to because Sessegnon, with Sessegnon, what his downfall was yesterday is that he kept trying to cross the ball airily. He kept trying to find the back post, and it wasn't even beating the first man. And what I would have liked Sessegnon to do differently is maybe do a cutback, maybe spray it across the floor. If you can't beat your man, maybe look for a two, maybe come inside, maybe go outside, switch up your play. Like sometimes when it's not quite working, you need to be able to switch up a little bit quicker. And I feel like with Porro, because I've seen those dimensions in his game, I'm thinking he's going to be able to come inside a bit more, but be decisive and link up with like your Bentancur or your Kulus inside the pitch, or even find Kane or Son inside, like doing diagonal passes as opposed to just passing it straight, or then running down the line, beating this man, cutting in, then doing a cutback, or like he's going to be more like attacking wise, a bit more like a Kulu in that sense, like in terms of decision making, knowing when to go, when not to go, when to pass. And I think defensively, I think we found a player that's quite tenacious. So it's going to help improve Romero's game because you've got someone that's going to be able to push forward. And then I think the introduction of Porro will allow to see us see what's it called Romero be more aggressive and front foot on the actual ball when helping our attacks. Because sometimes, like we saw against Preston, when they do a back five, we find it very hard to break them down. And yesterday I spoke about the width. Sometimes we were a bit too narrow. I felt like Doherty and Sessegnon were both too narrow yesterday, and that kind of stifled our front three, and there was no space in behind. So I think Porro coming in, hopefully he'll be able to add that threat. He'll give the centre back, if it's a free, we'll make the centre back pull over and their wing back pull over as well, and now open up spaces and holes in the opposition's final third. So I just feel like that right hand side is going to be a new dimension of attack. I think like he will almost be like a playmaker. The fact that he took penalties for Sporting tells you a lot how much he meant to the actual team, how much of a loss he's going to be for Sporting, and how much of a plus he's going to be for Spurs. So I expect him to. I mean, a lot of Spurs fans have high hopes and a lot of expectation resting on him. So I'm hoping he lives up to it, because I think with like, so for example, Basuma, a player like Basuma, where there's a high expectation on him for what he brought with Brighton and how he outplayed us, how he just manhandled us at the Tottenham Stadium last season, especially in the cup game. I was thinking a lot of fans are expecting that type of Basuma, and we haven't seen a performance on that level from Basuma. Maybe some could argue against Liverpool, he had a good performance, but not in the same stature that we saw when he was in the Brighton shirt and he played like your Man U's, your Arsenal's, or Liverpool's. He completely just dominated the midfield defensively, and he was able to like bring the ball forward. He could dribble under pressure, under tight spots. He was immense. It was very clear for everyone to see. Whereas if you're not watching him in this game, you can say like, oh look, Basuma, it looks like almost he's playing it a little bit safe. When you want your midfielders to take more risks and be more adventurous, especially when driving up the park. And I'm talking about the first half. I think the second half he did add a bit more adventurous. He was involved in the third and final goal before giving it to your Brian Hill, who linked up to Kulusevski and putting into Danjuma. But I just feel like with your Basumas, I feel like again it felt like the shackles a little bit tired on him, like because he's in a new system, he doesn't want a mistake. He hasn't got the same freedom that he had at Brighton, and he's asked to do a specific job in a specific way. And I think when he was with Benton Core, I don't think they play in two lines like that. I think they play a little bit staggered. So like that, sorry. Staggered, yeah. So this is that's the front of my camera, isn't it? So yeah, yes. I can't get it straight. Yeah, yeah.
We get you, don't worry. We get you.
Yeah. So yeah. So basically, what happens with the reason why Bentancur didn't have a great performance because he was the one that was going to take more risks and be more adventurous. And so if you're taking more risk and more adventurous and you're pushing forward a lot more, you're going to lose the ball because you're trying to pass it forward, you're trying to break the lines, you're trying to do something a little bit different. But I think that's where he lost the ball a lot more than Basuma. Whereas when Basuma's with Højbjerg, I think Basuma was doing Bentancur's job and Højbjerg was the one to kind of sit a little bit more. And I felt like when Basuma was trying to force the question, he was trying to ask questions to force the position's hands, he would make mistakes. And then people are like, oh, what's Basuma doing? Da, 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 da. So I just feel like he's a little bit more comfortable in the pivot where he's a little bit more defensive. And I know they're meant to take turns because obviously in the second half he did do that dribble and he did come forward. But I just feel that's how the double pivot works. It kind of like they almost take turns, but you always see one is slightly more advanced than the other. Like one might sit in our half and kind of be closer to our centre backs, and one might be closer to like the attackers or the wing backs, etc. Do you know what I'm saying? Just to cover the different spaces. But yeah, Porro, sorry, I went on tangent again. Yeah, Porro's going to do the business. I think it's going to be like the signing that Kulu and Bentancur was for us. We needed a midfielder, we needed another attacking player, and I think he was a major player we were missing for this season. It will make the difference.
Let's hope so, bro. Let's hope so. But thank you so much for coming on once again, and we'll see you next time.
Nice one, Ash.
Big up, man.
See you, mate.
Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Ash Matic. We've got a super chat here from L3 Wiz, member for 3 months, saying we just plotted a bid for Piero Hincapié. There are a few rumours floating about, nothing from any sort of reliable sources at the moment. But what the rumours are is that Spurs have plotted a bid for about just over 20 million, which is probably nowhere near the amount that it's going to do to prize him away from Leverkusen, especially the way they're going at the moment. Jabi Alonso seems to be doing a really good job there. Apparently, it's banded about in the press that he won't be going for anything less than 80 million.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't think it will take 80 million, but I also don't think 20 is anywhere near enough. So,
20 million for Hincapié is pretty much the same as 12 million for Trossard.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a derisory bid if that's the case. So, I wouldn't get any hopes up about that deal.
Let's bring on KPV.
Hello.
How was the Royal Rumble last night, my friend?
Not really great, but only two things to be happy about. Cody Rhodes winning the men's and Rhea Ripley winning the women's, and then something bad happened.
What happened?
Sami Zayn turns on the bloodline and then he stabs Roman Reigns in the back, going back to 2014 when Seth Rollins turned on one of the greatest factions of all time, the Shield. So he's making history here, blood. And then Roman Reigns decides to hit him with a chair because he didn't take orders from what Roman Reigns told him to do. Get a chair, blood. Get me a chair. And then he doesn't. Well, he did, but he then stopped Roman Reigns from hitting Kevin Owens, who he doesn't like. But oh well, not good. But I can't watch it anyway because the WWE have cancelled my subscription. So gonna have to try and sort that out. But oh well. Expressions watched it as well. Big up
I know.
Expressions.
Expressions watched it. Daigle watched it. Everyone watched it, apart from me.
I see you're not a fan then. Cheeky
No,
bastard.
I used to be when I was about 5 years old.
Did you like Batista in that? Evolution? One of the greatest groups? Triple H. Who did you like? Undertaker?
I like The Rock. The Rock, Stone Cold, Kane and Undertaker, Hardy Boys,
yeah,
the Dudley Brothers.
The Rock. No one likes The Rock.
Daigle does. If you smell
Triple
what
H.
The Rock is cooking.
But anyway, let's talk about Tottenham, KPV. Let's talk about Tottenham. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I want to know. And what's the latest update on Pedro Porro? Have we signed him yet?
Apparently travelling to England today, so hopefully we'll get the... We've got the Here We Go yesterday, obviously. Hopefully we'll see him in a Spurs shirt by the latest tomorrow.
Yay! So, 2 signings, but I hear Kulu could be returning to Juventus at the end of the season. Like,
Nah, don't believe that. Don't believe that.
I heard it on I saw it on my phone, but like,
Don't believe everything on your phone, Kyle.
I don't know why, but yeah, we need to sign him permanently. We haven't done that yet. Like, can we just do it? Because he's been brilliant since we signed him last January, but we haven't met the thing that says if he plays in 50 games, then we can. But just hurry up, Daniel Levy, for fuck's sake. Get the deal done, kid.
The deal will get done. The deal will get done for Kulusevski. I won't be worried about that at all.
Well, yeah. Like, what are they going to be banned for? Kulu Bentancur. Like, I heard they could be banned for a month or something. Like, they haven't done anything. Like, why are they going to get banned for something they haven't done? Like, Paratici's got 30 month ban, but that isn't great. Like, that could put his job at Spurs in jeopardy. Like, I don't understand. But Kulu and Bentancur have been brilliant. Like, yeah, I think since his debut, no one's got more goal involvement than him. And he's on fire. Like, great assist to Danjuma. Like, I think Danjuma done an Emerson Royale. No look goal. Like, let's hope he can score as well against City, like Bergwijn did. So, from Bergwijn to Danjuma, one Dutchman to another, bring on City. And the good news is, AC Milan got battered 5-1. So, if that other team can smack them, we can. Bring on AC Milan, boys. They're getting smashed, blood. Just no! So, but anyway, yeah, I'm watching Brighton, Liverpool, still 1-0, but Brighton are going to win that because they've already beaten Liverpool. We've already won at theirs. So, yeah, come on, Brighton. But more Tottenham stuff to talk about in the week. Tomorrow, Pedro Porro will be on a Spurs shirt. Yeah, wonder what number he's going to wear. I say 23, but what number do you think? 24? Oh, yeah?
Very well could be.
He wore 24 at Sporting, so...
Did he? Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? I wouldn't be surprised if it is 24, to be honest.
Well, that's my old age. Old age.
That's your old what?
Age. I was 24 a couple of years ago. I'm 26.
I also used to be 24,
that's
you know.
also my old age. That's mad. That's mad. We're all 24.
24? Well, we'll find out on Spurs' official Twitter account, like, what number it's going to be.
He can't be 24 because Jed Spencer's 24.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's going out alone.
He's going out on loan, fellas. So
he could be number 3. We don't have a number 3 at the moment.
Well, number 3, Reggie, but just bring Reggie back, people. Like, Seth isn't great. Reggie's better than him. So get rid of Seth, bring back Reguilon, because, like, he done some assists, past Kane, but we've got City, and who we got after it?
After City, we got Leicester.
Ah, away, yeah? Well,
Yeah.
it's just another 6-2 incoming then, boys. Kane against Leicester again, and Son, another bangers. Kulu as well, Bentancur again. So Leicester are getting slapped 6-2 again, because we all know Kane and Son just love scoring against those lot. They're not doing great, unfortunately. So City, look out for Kulusevski and look out for Kane next weekend, people. Kulu's going to open a score and he'll finish it. Danjuma as well. So everyone, make sure you do your predictions, because Benison will be doing Predict the Prem this week. And
Damn
I have
right.
a feeling Ben's still going to win, because Ben is
Come
still
on,
ahead.
KPV. Come on.
All right,
Giving away
people.
our schedule, KPV.
Well, like, since Sim got 5 points from a timer, I wonder if Ben's going to go for him, or I believe Ben already had Kulusevski. So it's Sim's time to have Kulu. So
Damn right.
Sim, you need Kulu, man. Like, Ben can maybe go for Højbjerg or Bentancur, but yeah, we'll find out this week, people. Make sure you do your FPL teams, because I believe Danjuma's already in the game, but I'm going to try and bring him in. So everyone, enjoy the weekend, and as always, Levy out, Daigle everyone in. Boom!
Boom.
Big up, KPV. We'll speak to you very soon.
Big up.
See you,
Have a
Carl.
good day, my
Boys.
friend. All right, so I think that's all the guests we have today. Just before we finish off, there has been an update from Dan Kilpatrick today saying Bastoni could be leaving Inter in the summer. In regards to that update, if I told you either Hincapié now or Bastoni in the summer, what would you take?
Probably Bastoni in the summer.
Yeah.
I mean, with the caveat that Conte's still here. But yeah, probably Bastoni in the summer.
Yeah, I would take the same as well. I mean, you can't pass up a player of that quality, can you?
No, but I wouldn't base any decisions on what might or might happen with Bastoni. Like, unless we've literally got very clear indications that he's going to come to us in the summer. Like, I wouldn't. If we have the chance to get Hincapié, I wouldn't say no just in case Bastoni comes. Like, I don't think, because you never know what happens in the summer. Maybe he wants to stay, maybe he wants to go somewhere else. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket.
I'd agree with that. But that is all we have time for today. Player ratings coming up next. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.